Welcome to Radio 64. Welcome to Radio 64, Video Game Music Remix Radio. I'm your host, Eric Mickles, also known online as duskvstweak. Radio 64 is part of the Radio Meanwhile network. Visit radiomeanwhile.com for more information about this and other great podcasts. Share your thoughts on this episode and request music by following the show on Facebook or Twitter at Radio64Pod. And please rate, subscribe, and share this show on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. We opened the episode with West Coast DK Island by JJT from ocremix.org from the game Donkey Kong Country. And we did so because this is a special Donkey Kong Country episode, Donkey Kong Country 1. It's usually guaranteed that I'm always going to be playing a track from the Donkey Kong Country series on the regular episodes, but I wanted to do a focused episode on Donkey Kong Country because, not just for myself, I think a lot of people could say this, growing up in the 90s, that Donkey Kong Country is one of those games that had a soundtrack that you paused just to listen to the music. It was one of the soundtracks that I remember thinking, like, I want to listen to this music outside the game. I want a CD of this. I want this music with me wherever I go. I want to be able to listen to this. I remember looking through Nintendo Power, and they would always be selling the Donkey Kong Country soundtracks as like, that's what I want. I think Donkey Kong Country also showed me what atmospheric music is, how music could match the level and create a sense of place in ways that I hadn't really experienced. But all that's to say, we're playing a whole bunch of Donkey Kong Country remixes. As I said, we started with West Coast DK Island by JJT, that soft electric guitar that comes in. It's a very peaceful track. A very peaceful opener. It's the DK Island swing track from Donkey Kong Country being remixed there. There's something about that hammocky, lounging sound that really fits with Donkey Kong Country, because even though the levels could be very stressful and intense, there was always this kind of laid-back, jazzy, chill mood throughout the first Donkey Kong Country. And also, that track that we just listened to, West Coast DK Island, is from the Kong in Concert album, a very early overclocked remix album. That's from 2004. You won't forget that title. You won't forget that album title, because a lot of the tracks we're playing today come from that. Even though that album is now 16 years old, it's got a lot of good Donkey Kong Country music. And when looking at overclocked remix, it's got a lot of the only tracks being remixed from the game, as you know, not every track is aquatic ambience. I said that thing about aquatic ambience like I was trying to be clever and cool, and then the next track we have is an aquatic ambience remix. This comes from 2016, so this is not on the Kong in Concert. And part of the reason I chose this is because there's so many aquatic ambience remixes that you're hard-pressed to find a style of music not being represented with aquatic ambience, even though a lot of them still kind of go for that very peaceful, eerie, melancholy vibe. But the way this track stands out is it turns that atmospheric aquatic ambience track into a hip-hop trap mix. It still has a chill sound because of the synth that's playing through, but I mean, it's got the vocals in the background just saying, hey, on repeat. This is a very I think this is a unique take on the aquatic ambience source, one that I appreciate for taking a chance and doing something a little bit different. This is High Tide by FoxyPanda from ocremix.org from the game Donkey Kong Country. And that was High Tide by FoxyPanda from ocremix.org from the game Donkey Kong Country. You know, outside of some of the rock mixes of Aquatic Ambience, I think High Tide has some of the most energy I've heard in that source. And I like the way it winds down. And what else can be said about Aquatic Ambience outside of it being one of the great tracks of video games? I'm pretty sure Aquatic Ambience is one of the first sources I went looking for when I first discovered Overclocked Remix, like back in 2002. Alright, up next is a remix of the Bonus Room music from Donkey Kong Country, Bonus Room Blitz originally. The bonus rooms were always so fun in Donkey Kong Country, even if it was just like figure out which barrel has the golden Rambi in it, or get all the bananas. They were just this nice, peaceful break that still stressed me out because I've only got so much time to do this. Especially the ones where you're playing the ostrich, because I could never really manage flying as well as you're supposed to with him. But this track, 101 by Icy Guy, maintains that kind of joyful pop sound and turns it into more of a synth pop track. It just maintains that very happy sound that you have during those bonus rooms. That the game is the original Donkey Kong Country saying, congratulations, you found a bonus room, now have some fun. So this is 101 by Icy Guy from the OC Remix album Kong in Concert from the game Donkey Kong Country. That was 101 by Icy Guy from the OC Remix album Kong in Concert from the game Donkey Kong Country. Up next, we have a track that's remixing the Life in the Mines theme from Donkey Kong Country, which is not the minecart theme. I had to go back and forth listening to them like, oh right, the minecart theme is this one. Life in the Mines is the more echoey track that's playing on when you're on the platforms and you're jumping around with Winky the Frog. This is a part of the game where things start to get really stressful, right? This is like the second world in Donkey Kong, the second map in Donkey Kong Country. Even on the Frog, the jumps are terrifying. I remember this is where the game started to get a little bit more difficult for me, but also maybe a lot more enthralling because I had thought like, oh, we're just playing Donkey Kong Country in a jungly area and whatnot. And then we start getting into these mine levels, into these old pieces of civilization. I'm like, what is this world? Where are we? So this track is a synth take on that original one with some saxophone in there for good measure, with a little bit of back and forth echoing throughout. So this is Echoes by Sadorf and Sir Nuts from OC Remix's album Kong in Concert from the game Donkey Kong Country. That was Echoes by Sadorf and Sir Nuts from OC Remix's album Kong in Concert from the game Donkey Kong Country. The next source being remixed is from the Voices of the Temple. This is where you start seeing a lot of the kind of like Aztec-inspired architecture. You start seeing the real signs of like this ancient civilization that lived on the Donkey Kong Country island. There's some Middle Eastern instrumentation here, and throughout that, through the more atmospheric layers, there's that driving percussion beat just carrying the song all the way through. So this is Idols of the Hanuman by GrayLightning from OC Remix's album Kong in Concert from the game Donkey Kong Country. That was Idols of the Hanuman by GrayLightning from OC Remix's album Kong in Concert from the game Donkey Kong Country. Those levels were also stressful because you'd have those stupid beaver enemies in those giant stone wheels chasing after you, and sometimes you'd be on the wheels. Yeah, the physics in that level really started to get to me. The Northern Hemisphere's source is being remixed next. The snow levels in Donkey Kong Country really, I was shocked when I realized that the snow that was falling in Donkey Kong Country was growing in intensity, and suddenly you're almost in a whiteout in those levels. The ground is slippery, your vision has been impeded, and the game wants you to be jumping around into barrels. That was a exercise in stress, those levels. But they were also some of the most memorable ones for me, the ones I remember most vividly because of that snow effect. It had this wonderful wintry vibe, and then you go in those caves and they'd have that kind of Christmas crystal music playing. And this track is taking the stress of Northern Hemispheres and putting it to 11. This is a stressful whiteout of a song. Blizzard in the speakers. There's some trance elements in this electronic take, but there's also a lot of really cool vocal work in here, some orchestral elements. This song has everything. It's Chekan Winter by Jason Covenant from ocremix.org from the game Donkey Kong Country. That was Chekan Winter by Jason Covenant from ocremix.org from the game Donkey Kong Country. And yep, that is also a track from the Donkey Kong Country Kong and Concert album. And we couldn't do a Donkey Kong Country episode without a track from Fear Factory. We've had it remixed with some very somber and depressing lyrics. I've heard it as a very heavy trance piece, sometimes 80s inspired, a bit rockin'. This is an electronic piece that really builds to its main source and to a lot of its more prominent ideas. It's got a really groovy beat, but it's a song that takes its time and goes from all the rise and fall of its sound as it slowly and quietly fades out. It's one of those atmospheric pieces that I could just turn on and read to. While it is a remix of the Fear Factory theme, it's also including a lot of fun original pieces in there. So this is Focus by DarkSim from ocremix.org from the game Donkey Kong Country. That was Focus by DarkSim from ocremix.org from the game Donkey Kong Country. I like the club vibe that track has. Something about the clapping also reminds me a bit of like those Jazzercise tapes. Fear Factory is one of those sources that has just so much depression in it already. It has... I mean, the environments are just so metallic and industrial and imprisoning. It really feels like Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong. In this very natural world that Donkey Kong Country is, it really feels like an invasion on the rest of the levels that you've seen. In the way they're just polluting everything. It's a miserable place to be, the Fear Factory. So the next source is Force Frenzy track from Donkey Kong Country. Those force levels with those zingers. I tell you what, zingers in Donkey Kong Country might be one of my most hated and feared enemies in 2D platforming. I think as a kid, I was afraid of the boos in Super Mario Brothers and Super Mario Brothers 3. But there's something about the zingers that they're just spiky, they're zipping, they don't seem to care about you. It's not like they're chasing you. They're just going up and down or spinning around in a circle. They're just these spiky bees that do not care about your quest, and they're just one hit you're dead. I don't know, zingers are, and then you fight the big zingers and they're scary without necessarily being endearing, I find. But Zircon comes in and then remixes the music around them to be this very chill electronic piece. Has a couple of acoustic elements in there. There's some flute in there, a bit of harp replication. So this is Faunaphonic by Zircon from the OC Remix album Kong in Concert from the game Donkey Kong Country. That was Faunaphonic by Zircon from the OC Remix album Kong in Concert from the game Donkey Kong Country. There's forest levels too. I mean, just so many barrels, so many ropes. This peaceful background of this forest experiences twilight, and it's just a miserable time jumping around those bees. So as we near the end of the game of Donkey Kong Country, there's Gangplank Galleon, the boss fight music as you fight King K. Rool. And that boss fight, that as a kid, that was an exercise in pure memorization, just trying to figure out every single thing K. Rool could do, because there was zero room for error there. It was a long fight, it was a tough fight, but that music that was playing was so jaunty and so piratey that you couldn't also help but enjoy your time there. You think you beat him, and then he gets back up, and then when you finally do beat him, you still don't trust it. Even as the credits are rolling, you're like, okay, what are you really gonna do here? The boss fights I don't think are especially amazing. As a kid, I think I was more annoyed I had to deal with them than not. But the King K. Rool fight, that setting of being on that pirate ship, fighting him and avoiding his cannons, there's just too much in there to be annoyed. It's just instinct and impulses in that fight. But also that track, the source tune there, the Gangplank Galleon, is just so ripe for thrashing guitar. And this is a metal take of that, a very aggressive metal take. This is Battle Aboard the Galleon by Thrace from ocremix.org from the game Donkey Kong Country. That was Battle Aboard the Galleon by Thrace from ocremix.org from the game Donkey Kong Country. Short but sweet, that thrashing guitar. Up next is a remix of the Credits Concerto source from Donkey Kong Country. The music that plays over the credits as you actually finally do beat King K. Rool, and it's going through the cast, which I thought was hilarious as a kid, watching Donkey Kong Country, and all the different enemies that you fought are coming up with their names. Just the fact that these sprites would show up as a cast at the curtain call, it just cracked me up. But this is a nice, warm, relaxing piece of music. Kind of goes back to that first track we opened with, the West Coast DK Island, how Donkey Kong Country, even during its intense blizzards, even in its scary fear factories, it has this very relaxed, jazzy, laid-back mood throughout the whole game. Even on all the level, with all the tracks, there's this part of the game that's always like, hey, calm down. It's just a game, and I think that's a nice reminder here with this track from it's the last track from Donkey Kong Country. So this is the teCtonic Records by Justine Tense from ocremix.org from the game Donkey Kong Country. was the teCtonic Records by Justine Tense from ocremix.org from the game Donkey Kong Country. And really, we played so many tracks from the Donkey Kong Country album, the Kong in Concert album. This is the newest of the tracks that we listened to. This is from 2019. So again, if you haven't checked it out, go check out Donkey Kong Country, Kong in Concert, that tribute album. We really only played a selection of tracks from that, along with the other ones that had just been released on OCR. But that album itself has so many tracks being remixed in different styles. It's definitely worth checking out. Even 16 years later, it still has a lot of really cool music there. So go find that if you're digging some more Donkey Kong Country mixes. But that was the last song on this episode, on this special Donkey Kong Country focused episode. So thank you for listening to Radio 64 Video Game Music Remix Radio. I have been your host, Eric Mickles, also known online as duskvstweak. Radio 64 is part of the Radio Meanwhile network. Visit radiomeanwhile.com for more information about this and other great podcasts. Share your thoughts on this episode and request music by following the show on Facebook or Twitter at Radio64Pod. And please rate, subscribe, and share the show on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening.